Heavy clubs teach you something that you absolutely will not learn in the gym. They teach you to do the most human thing better, throwing patterns, specifically throwing patterns using a lever, starting with light weights, going to heavy weights, starting with simple movements, and going to complex movements. It does not matter your age. It does not matter your sport. It does not matter if you play a sport. This should be a basic part of everybody's fitness program. The exercise that we're going to focus on today is what's called a stagger stance forward cross-body circle. It is not a basic exercise at all. This exercise is built on top of about 13 other exercises. The most important exercise that this is built on top of is the inside circle. Let's start with the basic movement. We'll do it with two hands. We'll do it with one hand. Then we will turn it into the advanced movement pattern. Then we'll talk about the math to get there. Our two-hand inside circle is something everybody should do. We are going to be swinging a weight laterally. If you've ever done blue collar work and you pick things up and you throw objects or you move objects, you will notice that this is a type of core support that you absolutely need. Most people in the modern world have back pain. It is specifically because they are not training this. They are not training this in the gym. So even most people who go to the gym have back pain, and they are not training this enough in order to prepare their body for life. Point 2 feet straight ahead. Pick the club up. Top hand is the hand closest to the heavy part of the club. We are going to rotate without moving our feet. That's key. Push, swing, pull, and catch. The heavier the weight, the harder your core fires. Normally, men start with about 15 pounds, ladies with about 10 pounds. The goal for men is the midpoint of training should be at 50 pounds. For ladies, probably about 30 pounds, depending on skeletal size. We always practice the two-hand version of this exercise first because it tells us if we're rotating all the way. If both elbows are locked on both sides of the movement, then we know that we are rotating all the way. If you are doing this exercise and you can get both elbows locked on both sides, we can go to the single arm version of this exercise. We take the bottom hand away. Our arm is at a 90-degree angle, elbow on the body. Once again, rotate. Hips move. That means ankles and knees rotate, then spine rotates. Push, swing, pull, catch. Elbow touches body, stand all the way up in the middle. Rotate, push, swing, pull, catch. Good. Most people will practice that single arm inside circle inside of a mathematical progression for about 3.5 years. They'll go through 7 weights. For men, think 15, 17.5, 20, 22.5, 25, 27.5, and 30 before they get to this next exercise. This next exercise, we're going to rotate. Our feet are still pointed straight ahead because that's the way we walk. If we turn out with this exercise, you're going to put your knee in the path of a big chunk of metal, and you'll probably hit yourself in the leg. Consider that bad. Don't do that. Instead of going inside towards our center line, we're going forward. Push, swing, pull, catch. Our lead leg stays perfectly solid. Our rear leg is probably going to pivot a little bit in the beginning. The better we get, the less this rear leg pivots. Push, swing, pull, catch. Push, swing, pull, catch. Push, swing, pull, catch. Notice we are still absorbing force at the bottom. This is a lead leg load. That glute is in stretch under load when we cross that center line of the body. We are going to rotate, do core stability, and then hold that arm at a 90-degree angle. Tuck your tailbone. You will see if you pivoted back to center, it is the same general idea as the inside circle, but it is advanced because now you're loading just that lead leg, and you have to have a very large range of movement in order to accomplish the task. If you do it on one side, you should be equally good at doing it with the other side. This is why it differs from sport. Most people who play a throwing sport only throw one way. The problem is they're missing movement on the other side, which is fine for performance, which is bad for longevity. When we set up for this rotation, it goes across our body and we catch. let's demonstrate it facing this way. You'll notice I'm turning my body, but I'm doing that same leg forward so that you can see how far the club will pass on this side of my body. Push, swing, pull, catch, come back to center. Tuck the tailbone, squeeze that glute. If you do not have glutes of steel, you're not doing it right yet, go back to your basics. Push, swing, pull, catch, push, swing, pull, catch, push, swing, pull, and catch. Think of this as the down phase of something like throwing a baseball. We're working on setting up this rotation and this spiral. Foot, knee, hip. The spine is twisted, the glute is stretched, core is engaged. The heavier the club, the harder this is to do. The most important thing is that we are training below our square stance weight. We should be at 40% of our square stance weight at least, because this is a lot of stretch for people, and if they do it wrong, they're gonna swing directly into their shin. Consider that really bad and absolutely do not do this. This exercise is not a beginning exercise. This exercise sits at the end of at least 7 weights, 7 full training progressions, which should take you 3.5 years. Same thing, just do it heavier. The heavier it gets, the harder this is on your core. We have our inside circle. Your target weight for men is at least 30 pounds. When you get good, you will be able to turn it into this exercise, also with 30 pounds. That means that this should be up in the 50-pound range before you're trying to do it 30 pounds here. Push, swing, pull, catch. The heavier the weight, the more it becomes a leg origin and a leg catch. Use the leg to start to push, use the leg to catch. This is really in the clean family of movements. Cleans are not arm exercises. Heavy clubs are not arm exercises. They are leg exercises and core exercises where your arm is controlling the weight. Cross body, so you can see how dramatic the spiral from this leg becomes on the catch. Push, catch. It is in the clean family of movements. This exercise is fantastic for increasing punching power because this is exactly like a Mike Tyson squat. You can stack this on top of any type of fight training or any type of throwing training. If you're not a martial artist, you might stick with the basic version, standing with 2 feet pointed straight ahead. There is an exercise that we like to do in order to see if people are prepared to even attempt this exercise. It is a shin box arm thread. Let's get all the way down to the ground, set up for our shin box position, stagger stance over. Knee in line with the instep of the lead foot. I'm gonna pivot so you can see what is happening here. Arm is going to reach through, starting with elbow to the ground. This is the stretch that you're doing in this club exercise. Hip, cross spine until elbow touches ground. This is not far enough to attempt this exercise. We need to get even further. Think shoulder laying all the way down. This is the level of stretch that you're going to be doing on this lead leg. So in order to prep for this, you would start doing this exercise and holding it at the end of your training sessions for at least 2 to 3 minutes on each side of the body. If your throwing patterns are not good, then that is something that you can easily work on. You should be working on it from now until the day you die. You never age out of this type of training. This is health and longevity training because it is making your body move the way everybody's body is supposed to move. Men, women, young, old, doesn't matter. If you can work on heavy club training, it will maintain your ability to move. It is endurance weightlifting, it is skeletal alignment, and it is useful, specifically human movement pattern.